there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. The Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
Hey, you guys got Junior and Nick from All Hail The Yeti. You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. And today it's an honor and a very, very huge privilege to have Nick and Junior of All Hail The Yeti. All Hail The Yeti is back with their long-awaited 7-track EP Within the Hollow Earth via minusHead Records, and is out right now. And also check out the single and video for Bury Your Memory. And let me tell you, folks, this band don't have a bad album out whatsoever. And if you think they do, come talk to me about it, because this band fucking kicks ass. I'm just saying it straight off the bat.
Right on, man. Thank you very much.
So
Happy to be.
How you guys been doing, and how excited are you to finally have the long-awaited new EP release out, especially in this crazy time that we're in?
Yeah, man, it's been really great. It's always a bummer when things get delayed, of course, but we kind of just feel like there's just always like everything's happens at the right time, right when it's supposed to. And so we got to kind of launch this thing right when we're in the middle of a tour, which is kind of like the best possible promo you can have. But we're just super excited. We've been sitting on these songs obviously for a while, and we're excited that people get to finally hear them.
Now, how's the actual turnout so far for the shows? I know you guys are on tour right now. Have you seen it more attendance from fans than previously pandemic, or what?
I mean, it's been fantastic, man. I mean, I think it's just because people are just so hungry to get back to live shows again. Obviously, the show was announced quite a while ago at the beginning of the year, so it had a lot of time to kind of sit there and marinate. And obviously, they jumped on it and they got a lot of the real good markets and kind of got their pick of everything they wanted. So it's been fantastic, man. Like, a lot of the shows have been sold out, and everyone's just been super.
Turnout's good. Merch has been selling like hotcakes.
Yeah, everyone's just super excited to get back to it, man. And especially us. no more than us, man. We definitely wanted to get back to work and get back out there. So yeah, it's been really great.
Oh yeah, I would imagine so. I'm sure you guys are itching at the bit to get out there, because this is what you guys do. This is your livelihood. You create music and tour all the time. This is what you guys love to do. So I'm glad to see it coming back.
Yeah, it's a good one to come back to,
Yeah.
Good audience, good shows, great bands, great tour. You're not coming back still struggling in the trenches, I mean, so to speak. It's nice to come out and have a good one to come back to.
Within the Hollow Earth has been hiding in the shadows for almost 2 years. Let's talk about that a little bit. How frustrating was it to sit on this for that long? And plus, when the pandemic hit, you had to sit on it even more. Let's talk about that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Connor lost it in his apartment. He lost a master. So couldn't find it. That's why we had to delay for so long. It was actually the dog took it. So
The dog ate the master.
We finally found it, and then got to work.
No, but seriously, I mean, it was kind of a tough decision because obviously we want to put stuff out right away when we have it. We want to release it and give it to people and let people have it. But for a band like us, who, our real bread and butter is touring, obviously, like we're still kind of building our fan base. We don't really have that kind of like a remote fan base of like, say, a much larger band that can just kind of put music out there and then people can kind of absorb it. People know about it. The only way we can really make people aware of it is by promoting it on the road, by playing, by showing people, hey, this is who we are and this is what we got going on. So we felt that it was just for us to not have any kind of touring or anything lined up to promote the album, that it was basically just going to be dead in the water. And we just, felt like it
deserved more than that.
It deserved way more than that. We wanted to push it as far as we could because we absolutely love this record. So, we wanted to get as many people to hear it as we possibly could.
it was just a different time to make a decision on something, obviously, because no one's ever been through something like that. So there's points where it's like, okay, we're going to do this. It's going to come out on this day. Everyone's up for it. Everyone wants to just put it out and then maybe write another one. And then it was like, oh, we're going to wait. And I think this tour is going to happen. And then it gets pushed. And then we're like, you know, so it was kind of like a day by day almost sort of thing until things got solidified. The tour got announced and things started rolling. And it was like, okay, now we're going to wait. And then put out a couple singles and start hyping it. And hopefully by that point, once the train started rolling, it was coming out regardless if the tour was happening. So, but luckily the tour continued and it came out on schedule how we wanted to put it out.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is we definitely we didn't want to undercut this record by releasing anything else quickly, you know, just on the fly by throwing something together and just putting something out just to put it out, you know, because I mean we had maybe talked about that, a lot of bands that are doing live streams and covers and that kind of stuff just to kind of stay relevant, but we kind of were just like, no, you know, we're just going to kind of wait until the time is right and, you know, take our chances and really stand behind this record when it comes out and really kind of use this as an opportunity to reintroduce ourselves. So that's what we did.
What about the pandemic for these other bands though? Do you think it's kind of an even playing field, if that makes sense? Even the garage local bands now.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Obviously bands that have further reach and are able to kind of parlay their fame into more of a remote type of thing, like some people did, you know, we definitely were into that, you know, and I mean, I'm all for, you know, bands staying busy and obviously staying engaged with their fans and everything. I feel like that's obviously super important, but I think we also because again, we talked about trying to put some kind of something together, like a live stream, but at the same time we were just that's just kind of, we didn't really feel that was an accurate portrayal of what we do. I mean, you know, when we're a live band, we our shows are there's a certain kind of a visceral aspect to what we do. And we just felt you know, us fucking singing into microphones in our closets wasn't really going to do it justice. You know, we really wanted to bide our time.
Kind of lame, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, not to say that anything anyone else was doing was lame. I definitely enjoyed a lot of the, you know, there's definitely some really cool live streams out there. The Misery Signals one definitely comes to mind. With they had incredible production and that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously, if you really put your mind to it and
do it right, it's warranted. But a lot of bands are just throwing things together last minute to put content out, which, like we said, it's engaging and stuff. But
we're more into you know, quality over quantity.
Exactly,
you know, and that's just how we kind of prefer to do things. It's just, you know, obviously we're not about just pushing out as much content as possible. We'd rather kind of really take our time and put out something that we really stand by and that we really think is worthwhile and good, you know.
Bury Your Memory was the first single and video off the EP. What was it about this song that was a no doubter going to be the first single, guys?
You know, it was hard because we love all these songs on this record, and it's kind of a good problem to have when you're like, man, these are all killer. You know, which one do we do first? But I think Bury Your Memory just had a certain, when you're recording an album, you know, sometimes songs kind of, they come together quick, things just click. And I feel like some of the best songs are the ones that just kind of happen, almost like magic. You know, you don't take a whole lot of time, you don't stress over them. And Bury Your Memory was definitely one of those ones where it just all kind of came together, and then we kind of sat back and listened and we went, man, this song really has something to it. I think we all just kind of agree that there was kind of a certain something in the song that we were just super excited for people to hear.
I got outvoted. I fucking hate that song. Straight up, this is the last song I wanted. Just kidding.
No, but I mean, yeah, honestly, we really, it's tough to pick singles, but also, of course, we have to also take into account the opinions of label and management and stuff. And they also really stood behind this song from the jump. They were like, this song is gonna be the one. And also kind of when it came to budgeting for the videos and everything, we felt like Bury Your Memory lent itself to being much more open-ended in terms of the content for a video. Mm-hmm. You know, some of the songs are a lot more kind of straightforward, this is about this, you know, it has the kind of it's sort of built in, we're kind of like, okay, well, there's only so much we can kind of, do for this, like visually, but barrier memory, we just kind of had like there was a lot of different ways we could kind of go with it, and we just sort of decided to kind of incorporate this whole kind of like, Scandinavian midsummer mushroom trip kind of vibe, into some of this, into our new visual stuff. And, I really dig it.
We're drug addicts is what we're trying to tell you.
But yeah, man, I mean, it's that we just felt like that song really it's the first song on the record, and it just kind of out the gate. It's just it's a really powerful statement, we think, musically, and it kind of delivers everything that we're all about. It's kind of got a little bit of everything that really encapsulates like our sound. So we felt like for the new listener, for someone who'd never heard us before, that was really going to make like the best statement about who we are.
Get the kids excited,
Get the toes tapping,
Yeah. What you guys' thoughts on this EP being compared to like Pantera and early Crowbar and Alice in Chains, guys? What's your thoughts on it?
We fucking love that, man. That's right. That's right up our alley. We're really happy that people are hitting on that, because I feel like that's kind of like exactly
our influences.
It's exactly kind of what we're going for. So for people to come out and recognize that without us even really, saying it, like the music speaking for itself, that's kind of the best we can.
Speaks volumes. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of always been the vibe of the band. Like, even though, the band is from Los Angeles and a lot of us have backgrounds in kind of that like early hardcore and, East Coast hardcore and LA hardcore and all, there's definitely aspects of that we also always try to stay grounded in that Southern sludgy vibe, because we're all such a huge fan of it. We all love, the South, especially New Orleans, and like all the music that comes out of there, like I Hate God and Crowbar and Corrosion of Conformity, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So that's obviously like a big thing that we wanted to push, but also kind of obviously put our own individual spin on it. You know what I mean? Because obviously as a band that's sort of influenced by there, but not directly from there.
There's a lot of different aspects to this band. Coming in, and we all have the common interest in the influences that constantly get brought up, but we all come from I grew up in the hardcore scene, so you get everybody's dicks in the pot there and mix them together, and that's what comes out. You get the Yeti, and that's what it is. But you definitely hear the influences from all of what influences us, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about All Hail The Yeti's music. It's all different flavors of music, man. It's not just one stick, it's like pop in a CD and just relax and just listen. That's all you got to do.
Yep. Sure. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, I think it just comes also like, again, from all of us just kind of having very strong influences, and just kind of us having sort of a more democratic writing process of just kind of every guy just sort of lends his own strengths into the sound, and nothing is really like off limits. We kind of try and keep a headspace of like, what we think is kind of like a Yeti sound, and I guess we can say like, maybe change it up and maybe do a little more of this. But like in the long run, I feel like the music has sort of evolved as every individual member has, and everybody kind of brings something different to the table. So,
and everybody brings a lot to the table. Like everybody kind of, plays multiple instruments and stuff like that. So Dave, there'd be times Dave and I would be, he'd write a drum part, because Dave plays drums. He's a great drummer, fantastic player. And then I'd put my part on, and I want Dave's part and he wants my part. We'd be like going back and forth. It's like,
it's a good problem to have.
It's a good problem to have. It's just at the end of the day, we all just want the best possible product, no matter who comes up with the idea, where it comes from. Exactly. Just, the best possible Yeti sound we can create.
Now, I know these songs are your guys' babies. And are there any tracks standing out more to you guys than any right now, possibly? I know it must change every time you listen to it, or you guys think about it or talk about it, but are there any that stand up for each of you?
On this record, I would have to say, what's the last song on the record?
Great Dying.
The Great Dying. That one hit me pretty good. And the standard tuning, Nita
Valir.
That one's probably my favorite. That was the one that I hadn't heard any of the lyrics, the melodies. I don't think, because they weren't even written. I think some of that stuff got written in the studio.
The curse of the drummer, right? You do all your tracks and then you're done. You can fuck off while the rest of the record gets made.
So when they sent, I ended up having to go back to Canada during the COVID time. And when we finally got when we got a mix back, and I heard, that was the song I heard, and I started crying. And I heard the chorus, I was like, holy shit, I can't believe this is our band. So I would have to say, I don't even know how to pronounce it.
Yeah, Nita Valier.
Nita Valier would be mine.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Funeral Heart, honestly, just because we're playing that every night. And man, just that song, it just rips. The energy of it is so great. And I've always, that's always kind of been one of my favorites. And to be able to play it every night and really deliver it and really see people's response to it has been great, especially now that it's out and people can listen to it on their own and discover it on their own and then come and hear it live.
Yeah. I burnt this up on Spotify. I ain't gonna lie. I sat here and I've listened to this. But Cold Dead Leaves, man, is God, I mean, that just
awesome. Yeah, Cold Dead Leaves is a total sleeper too, man. Cold Dead Leaves was one of the first ones that kind of came together with this collective. And obviously, we have a new guitar player, Dave, who we've mentioned for this record, and he was very, very hands-on with a lot of the writing. He was kind of the riff master of this record for sure. And, obviously with Connor and I and Junior kind of looking over his shoulder and going, oh yeah, we like that. Maybe do this, do that. But Cold Dead Leaves, I think, was kind of one of the first ones where he was really trying to come out the gate and really do his best to fucking capture the sound of the last three records and kind of make it his own. And that's definitely a classic fucking Yeti tune. Also, it's kind of the sleeper of the record, in my opinion, because I feel like, we're all excited about some of the other ones, but that one definitely blazes ahead, just like we have, in previous records. So
it's definitely, it's definitely a hidden gem on the EP. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, we started jamming it too before the tour when we kind of got back together post pandemic.
Trying to work out a set list,
trying to work out some new ones, and Cold Dead Leaves definitely was on there. So I have a feeling now that the record's out, we can probably start incorporating that one in for future tours for sure.
Might make its way into the mix. You never know.
Definitely.
Were there any tracks that didn't make this EP that we could see on another upcoming EP or an album, possibly, or no?
It's possible there were a couple of ideas in there. I know for sure they didn't really get past the demo process though. We really only recorded these songs for this record, but we definitely, we had more, we brought more to the table, and then we kind of took our pick of the best ones. So
with the help of Steve
Evans, who produced, but yeah, I mean, that's always a possibility. We're definitely big on, looking back and kind of finding some old stuff that maybe didn't make it. I know. Definitely.
Maybe take a couple, maybe it wasn't the entire song, but there was a really good bridge or a really good verse or something that we really liked. And then
not so much this record, but Highway Crosses, the last record, definitely
there
had
was a couple of
older,
that were recorded,
older pieces in there that we had never put on an official album that we decided to bring back. So yeah, it's definitely always a possibility, man.
Was there a track, guys, that you were working on that totally ended up sounding different than it was intended to? Was there a track that just totally took one out of you?
Wow, that's a really good question.
There always is one of those, and I feel there was one on this record. It just feels like it's been so long that I can't really remember that far.
No.
Well, I can't.
I think it probably something like Nita Valier. Possibly, or The Great Dying. I know both of those ended up being quite different by the time we actually got in the studio, because just of I think we kind of had some demo-itis at that point with some of the other songs. And sometimes when you're writing, you're just kind of I know this is good, but we'll have to just kind of work it out in the studio. And I particularly am a major proponent of fine tuning and writing in the studio. I mean, a lot of my vocal parts, not a lot, but a good portion of my vocal parts, I like to write in the booth. I like to just come in off the cuff, sometimes, you know, and that's just kind of the best way, especially since I'm such a fucking nitpicker and
the Diltz filter,
a perfectionist, you know, when it comes to my own stuff. I'm never satisfied with anything. I hate everything that comes out 5 seconds later. So it's usually, I'm just like, first thing, you know, sounds good, is good. And then we can kind of move on. And that's like Slow Season, for example, is one that comes to mind. It was one that I just wrote. I wrote that chorus in the booth, and we kind of fine tuned it over the next, like, you know, half hour or whatever, however long until we had it. But Nita Valier was like that on this record. Steve Evans and I worked on it together, and I kind of just came in, you know, I might have had a couple of ideas like melodically, but I like doing that. I like kind of working it out and working out the syllables and the words and everything. So, yeah, you kind of never know exactly how it's going to take shape sometimes, you know, until the end.
So how was working with Steve Evans on this? I mean, he's worked with Suicide Silence, Devil Driver, Inside, Every Time I Die, and plus the Dillinger and Escape Plan. How was working with him on this, guys?
It was great, man. I mean, Steve, obviously we've been on each other's radar since the first record. I think his name was one of the names that was thrown in the hat. And I'm honestly surprised that it took us this long to finally work with him, but we're super grateful and super happy we did, man. He's like really he's
done pretty much every single record that has influenced me. And
yeah,
you know, I kept trying to obviously Snapcase and Caboose and you know, like that signature fill. I kept trying to throw that in there. He's like, what do you got? Like, I'm just waiting for him to call me out on it. Finally he's like, you playing Caboose? I'm like, fucking rights I am, bud. You started a record out with that motherfucker and it changed my life.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to get to record with someone who did so many things that were dear and close to me, that influenced me as a player and a fan of music.
Yeah, man. Like Steve, again, is just like such a professional and such a sweetheart and such a genius. Super easy to work with. I feel like and just in terms of like the raw sound of the instrumentation, you know, just taking just that into consideration, I feel like he definitely got one of the best sounds out of this band that we've ever had on a record. He really fully understood it, and it was so basic. Like basically there's not a lot of like fine tuning or plugins or like any kind of real After Effects going on there. Like all the tones and stuff that you're hearing is just kind of straight up, like it's just us, you know. And he really was able to extract the best possible, like raw, almost like live sounding tone out of us. And that's kind of what we're about, you know, because we're a band. We consider ourselves kind of a live band, you know, so to really have that sound that's real raw and not like overproduced, but still hits super hard and is really pleasing to the ears and stuff. That was kind of the key for us, and he nailed it, I think.
I can say that this is the first record I have ever done that I got the first mix back and I said, do not fucking touch anything.
Yeah.
I have zero, any ups and downs, anything on any of the drums you want changed. I'm like, absolutely nothing. It is perfect the way it is. Don't touch it. Put it to fucking print. And I've never done that ever in 25 years of recording.
Yeah.
So it was
pretty much nailed it.
He nailed it right out of the gate. I was shocked, blown away.
Who did the amazing artwork for this album, guys?
The artwork was all done by Liam Garritty, who is Connor, our singer's brother, and he's actually done like the artwork for all of our records, anything from like the digital layouts to you know, he's done like hand-drawn stuff going back to our first record.
Let's give it up for Liam Garritty.
Yeah,
Liam Garritty, everybody, ladies and gentlemen.
But yeah, Liam's great, obviously, because he's family, and you know, he's just super easy to work with because we don't really
talented.
We don't have to really, you know, tell him much. I know, you know, Connor and him obviously are work pretty closely on kind of ideas and concepts and stuff,
and grew up together in bands, playing in bands. So they obviously they got their little brothers thing going on, you know.
Yeah, Liam definitely has like the same kind of like a dark kind of dirty, you know, rock and roll kind of style that fits well with us. So
he does all our merch. He does everything for us.
Yeah, does a lot of our designs.
We lost Scott Corring. I hope I pronounced his last name correctly. Who was
Koenig. Yeah.
Who was the band's first manager? How big of an impact did he have on this band, if anything, guys?
I mean, yeah, Scott fucking believed in us kind of when nobody else was really that interested. Scott like kind of took us on like pro bono, you know, back in the early days of the band, and kind of gave us like a lot of guidance, you know, kind of really introduced us to being professionals in the industry, man. Like he was definitely like super important to the genesis of this band and kind of how we were able to grow and navigate as like as an up and coming like local band in Hollywood in that scene at that time. Yeah, man, it was a real fucking bummer to lose him, man. It's definitely like, you know, way too soon. But yeah, I mean, I always have amazing memories of Scott just sitting, you know, holding court with him at the Rainbow in Hollywood and just kind of bullshitting and talking shop. And yeah, he was a really humble, really amazing guy.
All right, Junior, Nick, what do you guys hope everyone takes away while listening to any of All Hail the Yeti's music in general? What do you guys hope they get from it when they pop it in to listen to it for the first time? Or
fresh bag of popcorn, man. I don't.
You got nothing. I mean, you know, I hope that it
people make it their own. I hope people take something from it, and whatever it is, they take it and they make it their own. And that's what I think music is. And I mean, it's one thing for each of us individually, but music is that for each person. And it's once you release it, I think once you release it out to the masses, it no longer becomes yours. It's everyone's, and everyone has a right. Everyone has a right to do with your art what they feel they want to do with it. Whether they want to slander it and fucking send it down the shitter, or they want to praise it, or they want to take it and use it as therapy to get through something or a tough time, or, you know,
hopefully not that first one,
or whatever, or, you know, get a fucking bag of popcorn, bud.
Yeah, man, I mean, I agree with Junior. I think it's kind of, you know, it belongs to everybody in a sense that music is just such a universal language, and no two people you know, really feel the exact same way about the exact same aspect of it. You know, like it's a real art form, and
that's the beauty of it. It can kind of take on something you're not necessarily intended to put out there, but it's sometimes can take on a life of its own. And it's like, wow, that's not really what we were planning on doing with this song, but it kind of hit everybody in some sort of way that, you know, maybe that's what it was meant to do. And however that happens is how it happens. That's kind of the beauty of music, I think.
Yeah, that's why I always, you know, just hope that it inspires people in any kind of a way that they see fit. You know, I try not to assign too much meaning to any personal piece of like music or lyrics in general. I just kind of, I hope more to just like use it as a way to like encapsulate like evocative art, you know, something that somebody can really kind of like get something out of, something that was going to move somebody. That's what I hope. I hope people hear, you know, our music and our lyrics and
what we get out of it, you know,
melodies and stuff, and they just feel something, you know.
And I absolutely love how, you know, albums can help people gravitate toward them liking that band because they don't feel like an outcast. They feel like they belong.
Yep.
Sure.
Yep. Yeah. What music did to us as kids.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why we got into it, you know, why we got into it in the first place. It's like to be able to be in a position to do that on the other side
to inspire
is pretty
people.
Fucking cool.
Yeah, to take that and run with it. You know, that's kind of why we're all here. You know.
Now I know you guys have a lot of music growing up, and still to this day you guys still have it. Even though you're in a band, it still doesn't matter. You still have a lot of music that you like. Do you still have a go-to album that you find yourself going back to or gravitating back to and listening to from time to time that you have to listen to, possibly?
Oh, that's a good one. I would have to say, I mean, this Edmonton band called The Smalls is my go-to. Yeah. And if you haven't heard them, check them out. And it's just something I grew up with that changed my life, that got me really focused and pushing. And it was the first kind of real famous band to me that I had met and got to tour with and become friends with and influenced by. And they've kind of sparked that whole fire. So I've been finding myself constantly coming back to it. And I mean, that goes back to 92 or, you know, '89 they put out their first record, and I'm like, you know, that stands the test of time.
Sure.
You know, to keep coming back to something. But definitely now more than ever, I'm more open-minded and not so, I don't know what the word is, but jaded or stubborn to just, I'm more open now to listening to new music than I ever have been, you know, rather than just going back to like, fucking put on Master of Puppets, put on Rain and Blood, just go to the go-tos, and, you know, rather than like, well, you should listen to this band. And then you listen to them like, fuck, this is out there and this is happening right now. You know, kind of, I've been more inclined to discover new music, being a musician myself. That's one thing that I feel I lack in that department, is opening my eyes to new music, which is kind of a shitty thing to say, but I can admit it, I guess.
I guess my one album that I'll never ever get sick of, it's probably my favorite album of all time, is Diorama by Silverchair.
Oh no.
It's like, I think that's just a perfect album. Like, no matter what I'm feeling or what's going on, like, I can always come back to that album. There's not a bad song on it. Like, it's just such a fucking incredible record from top to bottom. So yeah, that would probably be mine.
I have to say, before I let you guys go, that Axe Murder Hollow is by far my favorite All Hail the Yeti song. I mean, that's
you're not the first person to say that.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's so mind blowing, because when it hits you and it kicks in, it's like, oh fuck. It's like, it takes your breath away, man, if that makes sense. It's like,
awesome.
God,
Yeah.
We get that one a lot.
Yeah, that's a great song, man. It's a fun song. We should start fucking thinking about working that one back in too.
I didn't play on that record, so fuck that whole
That's what I was going to say. You know, I know
songs suck. Just kidding.
Folks,
remember we wrote that song, and we were so excited to fucking play it because we liked it so much. We fucking played. We opened a set with it. We played it at the Viper Room before it even had any words, and we just opened with an instrumental because we thought it was so cool. And it was probably, in retrospect, like, probably not the best decision, because people were just like, didn't really know what, you know, they didn't care about it the way we did. But yeah, it's a good one, man.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up All Hail the Yeti's new long-awaited 7-track EP with Hollow Earth. Trust me, you will not be disappointed. You won't be disappointed in any of this band's music. Like I said earlier, if you do, come talk to me. I'll have a talk with you. I'll set you straight. Folks, or Nick and Junior, how can folks stay in touch with you, buy some merchandise, new album, tour dates, everything All Hail the Yeti wise? How can they do that, guys?
We're on Instagram a lot. That's kind of our main platform, at All Hail the Yeti. And we got links there to everything. We got an online merch store, you know, we've got a band camp on there, and you can kind of keep up to date with everything that we got going on there.
And we got a guest spot at the doggy.
Yeah.
This is Aya.
This is Aya, our road pup. She comes with us everywhere.
Oh, look at the
head merch girl.
Look at the baby. Hey, before I let you go, would you care to do a promo for the show? One of you or both of you guys together?
Absolutely, man.
Hey, you guys got Junior
and Nick from All Hail the Yeti.
You're listening to
BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please go out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link and our YouTube link, and you want to subscribe to the YouTube link. And also pick up All Hail the Yeti's new long-awaited 7-track Within the Hollow Earth and all their music. Please, you won't be disappointed. So, Nick, Junior, thank you guys so much. And
thank you, man.
Thanks, man.
Love music, man. Honestly.
Cheers. Appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.